She was the CEO, but security told her to wait outside. 1 minute later, she returned, not with security, but with pink slips. Asterisk, before we unfold this unbelievable story, make sure you're subscribed to Unfold Tales, where true stories twist deeper than fiction. Asterisk, she showed up right on time. Crisp navy blue suit. Smooth hair in a low bun. Her heels clicked with rhythm across the marble floor, as if announcing her arrival. Yet no one looked up. The receptionist barely glanced at her. Deliveries go around. Back, he muttered, too absorbed in his computer to notice the authority in her posture, or the fire in her eyes. Danielle Carter didn't flinch. She simply smiled, though it wasn't from amusement. No, it was the kind of smile you wear when you've spent your entire life underestimated. She replied softly, I have a meeting with the board. He didn't even blink. You'll need to wait outside. This area is for executives and management only. Outside. Outside. As if she didn't belong in the company she now owned. What he didn't know, what none of them knew, was that just 48 hours earlier, Danielle had finalized the quiet acquisition of the company through a holding group. They thought it was a merger. They thought it was paperwork. But Danielle Carter had bought them out, every last controlling share. And yet, here she was, treated like she was just another stranger. Because she didn't look like what they expected from a CEO. She gave him a nod and stepped outside, not out of submission, but because she needed a moment, not to calm down, but to prepare for what came next. Exactly 60 seconds later, her phone buzzed. A message from her legal advisor. Everything is filed. They're all under your authority now. She took one deep breath, walked back in, and this time, she didn't wait to be spoken to. She walked past the front desk, past the open-mouthed receptionist who stuttered something unintelligible, and headed straight to the executive conference room. Her heels still clicking, but this time they sounded more like a countdown. Inside the boardroom, 6 men sat in tailored suits, laughing over coffee. The laughter died as she stepped in. The CFO stood up, confused. Excuse me, this is a private. I'm Danielle Carter, she said. I'm the new CEO. Silence. The silence that follows disbelief. The silence that tries to mask fear. She placed a folder on the table. Inside, signed documents, purchase agreements, controlling interest transfers, all perfectly legal, all final point. One of the board members flipped through the pages with trembling fingers. The same man who, 3 weeks earlier, had interrupted her mid-presentation and said, You're smart for someone who looks like you. He remembered her now, but it was too late. Danielle turned to the head of HR, who looked pale. I need you to process immediate terminations, she said calmly. Effective now. The COO, the CFO, and the entire senior management team. She looked back at the receptionist. Yes, he'd been called up too. And front desk staff. No, please, someone started, but she raised her hand. I don't need apologies. I need a culture reset. What none of them knew was that Danielle had once applied to that very company. Twice. Same resume. Same degree. Same accolades. But under a different name and no photo, she'd been shortlisted. The moment she showed up in person, the story changed. She never got angry. She got even, strategically, methodically, and legally. And now she stood before them, not just as a woman who earned her seat at the table, but as a woman who owned the table. Security came not to remove her, but to escort out those who had guarded the gates of exclusion. Danielle Carter didn't raise her voice. She didn't throw a fit. She didn't need to, because real power doesn't shout. It signs documents and fires people with a smile. As she sat in her new office, a room she'd once been told she could maybe reach in 10 years with hard work, she looked out at the skyline and whispered to herself, They told me to wait outside. I did. But now, they're the ones standing in the cold. Fade to black. Soundtrack softens. A final heartbeat echoes before silence.